He blew a white woman's head off. Broad daylight, middle of the street. On camera, knowing it was on camera. Less than a year into this man's presidency, that's where we are. I say this in hopes that you understand it's not a race thing, it's a class thing. It's not a gender thing, it's a class thing. But I bring her race into it because there's usually a shrug off. There's usually a shrug off when it's not a white person. Specifically white women. And this should be a turning point. There should be, something should click into place. This is white people's wake up to like, oh, it's us too. It's always been you. It's a class war, baby. Let me check my notes. Oh yeah, back in June, Melissa Hortman, the state representative for Minnesota, yet again, in her home, also wasn't the House Democratic Caucus leader? Oh, also assassinated. Same way. All the lines are crossed. All the lines are crossed for there to be a calm, cool, collected, democratic response and resolution to this. The midterms are not going to fix everything. Granted, there is going to be change. All of those things are great. That's not going to be the resolution. This doesn't end peacefully and with hugs and with laws being changed and people's perception and minds being changed. That's over. That's over, I promise you. That tipping point is way behind us, And I'm hoping that people understand from this very specific incident that point is behind us, not just from today. Like, that point is way the fuck back there.
You guys are framing this like the president wants to take over the American cities with the military.
We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military. Last month I signed an executive order to provide training for a quick reaction force that can help quell civil disturbances. So this is going to be a big thing. It's the enemy from within, and we have to handle it before it gets out of control. They like to say, oh, you're not allowed to use the military. We haven't even started yet.
One final point I'll make about this is, look, there's a part of me that feels very, very sad for this woman, not just because she lost her life, but because I think she is a victim of left-wing ideology. What young mother shows up and decides they're going to throw their car in front of ICE officers who are enforcing legitimate law? You've got to be a little brainwashed to get to that point to where you're willing not just to protest, that's fine, not peacefully protest, but throw your vehicle in front of legitimate law enforcement officers and drive your car into them. To get to that point, you have to be, I think, radicalized in a very, very sad way. I certainly wish that she hadn't got there. I know there's an ICE officer right now who very much wishes he was not put in the position where he had to fire a gun to defend his own life.
You! Shame! 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 Dude, what's happening to her? What happened? Dude. Okay. Dude, you shot her! I'm trying to help! No! No! You fucking shot someone in the fucking face! You shot someone in the fucking face! Do you have a conscience? Do you have a conscience? Don't let the murderer leave! Don't let the murderer leave! to do. Fucking criminals. Don't let him leave. Don't let him leave.
Pussy motherfuckers, man.
No, get the fuck out of our neighborhood. Yeah, it's a fucking crime. We fucking know it. We're here. Yeah, like what the absolute fuck, man? What the absolute fuck? Do you have a conscience? Do you have a conscience? Do you have a conscience? This is the time, man. This is the time to have a conscience. This is not okay. This is not okay. Get a fucking conscience.
Can you look at me and tell me you're doing the right thing? Get the fuck out of here, bro. You didn't fire any weapons. Fucking your people did, man.
In the head. In the head.
I didn't do anything.
And she drove into the
murderer. You, look at me. Look at me. You can't even.
Watch out, man. Watch out.
Why don't you look at me? I thought you could do it. You owe
You okay, mommy?
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous.
I understand that Vice President Vance believes that shooting a young mother of 3 in the face 3 times is an acceptable America that he wants to live in, and I do not. And that is a fundamental difference between Vice President Vance and I. I do not believe that the American people should be assassinated in the street. Thank you.
The storm is here. When we come, one, we go all. No one can stop what is coming. Get here, guys. We need you in Minnesota. These people are terrorists. And all you liberal commie keep your hands to yourself or you're gonna get hurt today, all right? We executed one of you yesterday. We executed one of you yesterday. You understand that? We executed one of you yesterday.
Don't get hurt. Don't give them the press. You're just talking to white supremacists.
You guys keep playing stupid games. You're gonna keep getting stupid prizes.
Do not give them attention.
You guys keep playing stupid games. You're gonna keep getting stupid prizes.
Yo, one thing I just realized about Trump's strategy about flexing his power across the country is we all understand that ICE operates in this gray area. We don't recognize them as law enforcement. And you always realize that they have to call local law enforcement to kind of back them up to have any validity. And because Trump is using a rogue agency in these Democratic-led cities that have strict gun laws, he knows that the average person, even if they're within their right, most likely won't have the means to protect themselves. And when he did, initiate operations down south, like what he did in Memphis, that was law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? That was DEA, ATF, FBI. You know what I'm saying? Like county, and like it was actual law enforcement. So people not gonna be feeling so emboldened or, really be questioning the validity of a police officer or a sheriff or FBI or a DEA agent. But an ICE agent where we know they kind of like, some rogue militia running around here operating in the gray area and, they don't really fall within certain parameters, but they do. Like, they not sending these motherfuckers down south like that, bro. And if they is down here, they moving real discreet, bro. Anytime I see videos in my area or in other places in the South when it comes to ICE, they moving real discreet, bro. And the minute somebody run up on them like, yo, what the fuck? Oh, yo, that's they out of here, bro. They not waiting for a whole group of people to come and gather on them down in the South. You know what I'm saying? Up north, they don't really give a fuck. They like most of these people, you know what I'm saying, probably never even been to the range, even held a firearm. Like when I was growing up in Buffalo, for somebody to even see a gun, bro, people be like, oh shit. Down south, you know what I'm saying? That's just the culture, bro. You know what I mean? So it's weird to say, but like that strategy that's being utilized is crazy, bro.
I've seen people ask the question, why Minnesota? Why is Minnesota being targeted for all of this activity? And I think the answer is honestly very simple. Minnesota's good. It is a good place to be. I'm not saying it's perfect. It is far from perfect. It has many, many flaws. But if you compare Minnesota as a state to other states, specifically in regards to infrastructure, roads, schools, healthcare outcomes, it is dog walking other states. And that is without the power and influence of politicians on a certain side of the political spectrum for at least 15 years, all the way going up 15, 20, 30, 50 years in certain branches. And I saw someone else pose the question, if you voted for this, is your rent lower? Is your gas cheaper? Is your healthcare better? And the answers to those questions are an obvious, glaring no. But for them, it was never about things being better. It was about making sure things were worse for other people. This administration said, oh, Minnesota's doing good and other states are not doing so good. Instead of lifting up other states to match Minnesota's goodness, we are going to lower the quality of life for people living in Minnesota to match the rest of the country. And I'm not saying other states are bad. I am just saying, based off of many different criteria, Minnesota does rank very highly in many areas. And I believe that this administration sees Minnesota being good. Again, not perfect, but they see Minnesota being good, and they are so frustrated that they had no part in that. That it is at the top of many rankings lists every year, and they had absolutely nothing to do with that. That's why Minnesota is being targeted.
Fuck you! Hey, guys! Fuck you!
You guys are all on video.
No, listen. No, don't take my phone. Hey, they got my phone.
Where is the paperwork for that?
Where's the...
They do it on target. They do it on target.
Hey, go.
Ready, stand up.
Hey, don't work it.
Anybody else going to ask where the fuck the warrants are? You guys don't have the right to...
What's your name?
What's your name?
Johnathan Garcia. I'm literally a U.S. citizen. I'm literally a U.S. citizen.
Get the fuck out of here, Ace.
Why are you kidnapping our citizens? Why are you... Why?
Where's your phone number?
Oh my God. At least let him give us information about his family. At least his family.
Oh, they're straightening.
What's your name?
Christian.
What's your name?
Christian.
Where the fuck is the paperwork? How is this okay? No shit. Fucking question. Why are you guys not answering the fucking question?
Yeah, record that shit.
Hey, we'll break and fuck the news. I want to give you guys an update. There's a video of the physician that was trying to assist the woman who was pew-pewed in the head multiple times by ICE. Fun fact, everybody. That parking spot she was sitting in, was her house. The video that I'm talking about, there's a woman recording, and she goes, "I'm not going to calm down. You just shot my fucking neighbor." So that street, that house, where that woman was parked, she wasn't chasing them. They asked her to move her vehicle, and she has pretty much said, "Fuck y'all, go around. This is my house. This is my street. I live here." They killed that woman in front of her fucking house, bro. she technically wasn't even an observer, if you really want to break it down. She was just parked in front of her crib.
Can I go check a poll?
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician.
Hey, listen, we understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor. You caught your butter in the face. You killed my neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the man?
Now, this is another angle of the footage that the neighbors on the street are saying, well, one, again, her being an American citizen, I know people keep saying that, but I just want to make it clear, like, wherever your body, wherever you were born at, like, this shit is inhumane. This is not Christian behavior. This is not God first behavior, y'all. Like, would Charlie want y'all doing this? But anyway, the neighbors and these people are trying to get this lady help. He's like, I'm a doctor, and he's talking about we have our own emergency response, and they're not helping the person. We're waiting for EMS. You shot this lady in the face. Come on now.
Really, you fucking punk? That's what you're gonna fucking do?
What?
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 What? Do you know what
Back
the fuck
up.
is that is for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
What is that for?
Back up.
You're gonna push me? What is that for?
Back up.
What was that
I don't
for?
give a fuck.
You don't give a fuck about
Back
her?
up.
Bro, this is why we're here.
Back up.
This is why we're here.
Back up.
What's her name? Renee Good?
Back up.
And you fucking, that's a memorial to her. That's a memorial to her. No, it's good. You're a fucking coward.
Fuck you guys.
You're a
you
piece
guys
of
are
shit.
Nazis.
You fucking proud
shame
of
on
yourself?
you guys. Fucking shame on you
You're a
guys.
fucking punk. Really?
Go and put your fuck.
That's what they fucking want to do. You're a little bitch.
Fuck you guys.
I'm that fucking badger, you're a coward, you little
You guys
cock.
are going to hell.
Renee Good is a mother that is standing up for our rights and was murdered.
She was a
Why the
legal
fuck?
observer.
Why we're here is because of cowards like you.
Do you guys not realize?
Listen, I'm going to say that I don't do this very often. I'm a pro-black guy. When I talk about social issues, mainly I discuss black people because black people are the people that are most diminished in a lot of situations, specific, not only in the United States, but in the world. But I got to speak on this lady, Miss Renee. I'm going to call her Miss Renee, and rest in peace. I'm going to say that the hubris of law enforcement and government, it's not just getting out of control. It's always been out of control, but the authority that Trump is giving these people, the arrogance he's giving them, is going to bring the country to war. And where most people were thinking it was going to be a civil war, black and white, black and, whatever, right? It's about to change up on them. Because it's not only groups of people that have been isolated, and that's just the way it is. And what they don't understand is that it's not the past anymore, meaning some people still like those simple modalities. I'm a Christian, I'm better than you, and you're gay, I'm better than you, and all this other stuff. But honestly, most people just like to get along. And I'm telling the truth. Even people who don't like other groups, they just, look, man, stay away from me, I stay away from you, do whatever you want to do, but you still deserve the opportunity to exist, okay? Without compromising your beliefs, your actions, and your emotions to me, like it used to be in the 60s. And so, this woman, whether she was protesting or whatever, she just didn't deserve that. You don't kill somebody if you don't have to. I don't know where cops don't get that. From the guy shooting the guy, because he's reaching for his license. The Hispanic guy that shot the guy got off. We live in this world. First of all, here's the thing about it. Most cops, and I'm going to be honest with you, they don't do that because it's some calling. They become cops in law enforcement because it's a job. They're regular dudes that all of a sudden start working out, taking jujitsu, and now they're badasses. Okay, you get a bunch of compromised egos of people who never really accomplished anything, and they start working together, then that's what happens. Okay? And look, I've had it happen to me. They do things they would never do if they weren't police officers, like ever in a million years. If God told them to do it, they wouldn't do it. But since they have the authority of government, and I apologize if I'm a bit animated, but this lady didn't have to die. Like a lot of people hadn't had to die. This is happening all over the country. It's not just ICE. So the people who are dealing with ICE, don't forget about the people who aren't. It's law enforcement in general. In normal life, in all honesty, I can count the times in my entire life that people just are fools. Okay? Why is it more like that now than before? Why? Because the ones who are cowards have liberty now. Don't nobody rush to become no cop. I've never met anybody in my life that rushed to become a cop. It might be somebody that truly understands service, like a military guy. I can see that. That's what he's been doing the whole time he's over there, or wherever he was. He has a sense of duty, right? But these other guys that become police officers, they think and they move differently. They want people to be afraid of them. The smaller they are, the more shit they talk. Their jobs now are to provoke people into crimes. It's sick. Rest in peace, Miss Renee. It's sick how you died. But a lot of our people have died like that. And rest in peace, all of y'all.
When they get done with us, they coming from you, for you, and all your interracial children. Y'all are next. And you'll be standing up here fighting for justice just as well as I am. I am so disappointed in the state of Minnesota.
The ICE agent who murdered Renee Nicole Good yesterday in Minneapolis has been identified on Instagram by the Daily Mail. They also interviewed his father, who said that Johnathan Ross is a good man and a good husband. This is him with his wife, who he married in, I believe, 2012. She is now 38. Her parents are both from the Philippines, and it appears that she is not from here. That's his father, who would not say how long his wife has been in this country when asked about it, so I'm going to assume it hasn't been her whole life. And here is his wife in front of a Border Patrol helicopter. He is an Iraq War veteran. Here he is with a saw, a squad automatic weapon. Quote, "You would never find a nicer, kinder person," the father added about his son. Unbelievable.
Either the American people are going to just shut the fuck up and bend the knee, or stand the fuck up and pull the card. There can't be any in between. And that's not because there just shouldn't be or couldn't be. It's because they won't allow for there to be any other option. That was my bottom line up front, because this is TikTok, and I know that most people who come across my videos don't see past 15 seconds before scrolling. But I will say this, for those of you who are hanging in there, I notice that people like to be the first ones to react to something, right? And I don't ever want to do that, really. Mostly because my first reaction and first response and my first thoughts about events like what happened to this woman in Minneapolis are things I cannot express publicly, to be honest. So I don't express them publicly. I wait and I gotta calm myself down and put myself in a better mindset so that I can present in a more constructive way for y'all. With that being said, I have been scrolling throughout most of the day trying to get more information about what happened to this young woman in Minneapolis, in addition to being exposed to a bunch of other fucking crazy things that I'll talk about at the end of this video for those that care enough to know what else has been going on in this country. In the midst of all that doom scrolling, I came across Minneapolis's mayor saying to ICE that they needed to get the fuck out of Minneapolis. And my immediate thought was, that's interesting. Because you have a governor who is a bitch. Couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, you know? Motherfucker just threw in the towel of his own volition over a conspiracy theory about daycares that have been proven to not be true. You know what I'm saying? He's a bitch. He's weak, you know? And that's frustrating because I know that at some point, somebody's governor is gonna have to either, like, in order for this shit to be taken care of, someone's governor is gonna have to use their National Guard against ICE. Either you're gonna bend the knee or you're gonna pull the card. And I'm noticing that we are constantly begging, like the citizenry is constantly begging for someone to fight back. Someone to fight this fucking back. You know what I'm saying? And none of us are doing it. Like the citizenry, too scared, too misinformed, too disenchanted, too apathetic to do it for ourselves. And our politicians are too bought and paid off for to do it. But like we continuously beg these motherfuckers to fight back, to protect us, to save us. And that would literally, especially when it comes to ICE, it would literally require someone's governor to say, this is not going to stand anymore. ICE, you are no longer welcome here. My National Guard is going to remove you from this state. And if you got a problem with it, then we just going to have to see about that when we get to that bridge. That's what would have to happen. In order to handle ICE, somebody's governor would have to be like, I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm going to use my power as a governor and the standing army that I am in charge of and make it stop. You know, like you would have to make it stop, and you would need the National Guard to do that, and that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? There's no Democrat or Republican governor with the balls to even do something like that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody that G'd up for real. You know, so here we are stuck in another cycle of just like begging and pleading, being shocked, being terrified about the horrific nature of living under fascism, which, to be honest, like low-key, this is not even the worst of it. We have this government, the country, the United States, has put in worse despots elsewhere who have done worse things to their citizenry. You know, just to keep that in mind. But like, fuck, we just still be begging. Please, 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 you know, please, mommy, save us from daddy. And when mommy can't save us from daddy because mommy's also a narcissist and doesn't care that daddy is whipping the shit out of us, we just start beating each other up like most siblings do in abusive families. Until another blow up happens, and then, you know, we beg mommy again, and she's too much of a narcissist to save us. So we beat each other up yet again. Like, that's the cycle at this point. And it's kind of just like, either we're going to bend the knee and lick the boots, or we're going to stand the fuck up and pull this fucking card. That's the only option. And it's not because there aren't other options. It's because that is the only option that this administration, that this government is willing to give us. And I'm really just finding out that Americans would much rather be pet than cattle. So, but yeah, if you lasted this long, other things that I have been privy to today is, one, how Big Pharma is skimming off the top, even when it comes to rebates, and robbing us blind of billions of dollars of, cheap drugs, to the point where, like, some 23-year-old kid had to pick between his inhaler and Rent. And he picked Rent and died for it. So that's a thing. In Las Vegas, 2 random motherfuckers decided to break into a homeless encampment, hog-tie the homeless people, and rob them. No, they weren't homeless themselves. They were just psychotic assholes looking to torture the most vulnerable amongst us. American things. There's just so much happening. And there's so many things that I would like to talk to you guys about. So many things I would like to bring to y'all's attention, but it's kind of just difficult. It's difficult to do anything creative, anything productive, anything constructive, because, like, the things I want to do myself are things I can't speak of. I have to keep them up here. The things I want to encourage you guys to do are things I can't speak of. I have to keep them all up here. But there's not a day that I don't think about Luigi Mangione and Chris Dorner and Toussaint L'Ouverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about those 4 men. Not a day.
You see tear gas deployed now as protesters and ICE agents again face off on the other side of this building. As I mentioned, there are 2 entrances here. ICE agents demanding that these protesters get to the other side of the street. Looks like that is their goal of this operation. Excuse me.
It's crazy looking at these photographs, and I'm trying to see what this brother is doing that substantiates you shooting a tear gas bomb dead to his face. Why we got this big ass bazooka in a snow-laden neighborhood? What the fuck are we really doing out here? And I just can't imagine being a dumb son of a bitch who voted for this man. I can't imagine being that stupid. And for the black people who voted for this, and for the Christians, I could suck 10 billion dicks, and it will not equate to the sin that you engaged in when you walked into that voter booth. You will go to hell. I'm fine if my life puts me in hell, but I need you to know you're gonna be right there with me, sister. I need you to know there's a park bench that already has your name engraved on it in hell. To be sure.
You want to know something? I'll give you a quote. We're a third world country now. You want to know why? I'm an expert. I've been to them. I spent 17 months in Southeast Asia while the draft dodger was playing golf. Right? You know how I know we're a third world country? Because in third world countries, they have the military doing their police work in the cities when you walk around. I was in the Philippines the day Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law and went under dictatorship. We went from nobody to a guy with a machine gun on every corner. That's what happens in a dictatorship. In comes the military. That's what's happening here. And people better wake up to it. You want to read something? Then read your history of Germany and start comparing the tactics of what happened in 1930s Germany to what's happening here. Read history. You learn from history. Any time you have the loss of life that needlessly happens, that's tragedy. And what occurred yesterday did not have to happen.
This comment was left on a post, on the post on Instagram, but I want to share it over here. Y'all know I had laser yesterday, so anyway. The conversation of don't resist. This conversation of don't resist police and don't resist arrest has always felt empty to me. But as someone who has experienced this process, as someone who has experienced the dogs being put on you and shit like that in the 90s, when there was at least some semblance of a process, I might have agreed to say, hey, they're just gonna ask you questions. But in this time, with the way that ICE is moving, they're snatching people up and they're not giving people due process. They're not reading them their rights. You're not being pulled over and, oh, my ID is in good standing. My plates are going la 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 la. They're just arresting everyone there, and then days later, they're realizing that they incarcerated American citizens in the effort to try to capture undocumented people. It's an unfair, an asinine, and an inhumane statement to expect people to trust individuals who have demonstrated over and over and over again that they enjoy power over censoring the health and wellness of human beings. Because your body automatically responds in the way to protect yourself. These people feel more unsafe than they feel safe. Do you understand that? This isn't, oh, you were walking down the street and somebody asked you a question. Even, again, that to me is asinine. But we are seeing repeatedly, over and over and over, that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're hiring unskilled people to engage with this task. They are hiring express racists with swastika tattoos on their body. I would fucking run too. And I was born in Omaha, Nebraska. They're unsafe. The same feeling that makes you at nighttime when you're walking to your car and maybe hit the button a couple of times is the same feeling you're having when these agents are walking around you. And I would bet if we gauge the temperature of what people thought was unsafe prior to this and what people thought was unsafe now, these agents have usurped this phantom, undocumented person who is making all of our communities unsafe. Furthermore, these people are the most trained, they're well paid, and they're supposed to be well supported. Their job is de-escalation first. Their job is sanctity of life. Who else was in that car? The way he was just shooting, who else was around? She was driving a car in the snow. Did the car hit somebody else? He's not thinking about culpability at all. He's thinking about winning. This is not about winning. This is about public safety. And there are times when you are centering public safety where you just might have to sit your ass down. But they're not approaching it with the thought of safety for all. They're approaching this with, we're wanting to win the war. What is the fucking war? So no, I do not agree with this statement of, oh, you know, when people are submitting to these people and still disappearing for days. They're whooping the asses of presidents and their wives from other countries. You think they ain't whooping the asses of people on the side of the street? They been. But my God, let's kind of be thoughtful about this right now. You know, this activated me because this statement is full of shit. oh, when will people learn? You are paid at a higher rate. You are placed in a higher position with the expectation that you will move with more character, higher values. Oh, well, they did it. You're the president, motherfucker. I don't care what they did. You're the leader of the country. Oh, they did it. They gave you a badge. You're the law. You're supposed to create the type of character and experience that people aspire to emulate. My cousin Ray Ray shoot random motherfuckers driving down the street. That's not aspirational. You're emulating the very behavior you allegedly have been hired and trained, and you're being paid handsomely with our fucking dollars. I would rather have a daycare full of Somali kids that doing whatever, and I would rather my tax dollars go to that than paying Bubba from fucking Texas to go to Minneapolis with his swastika tattoo on the side of his neck, shooting up cars in the middle of the fucking snow. I'm posting this over here so people can't. They just shot a woman in the face and killed this woman. And they're saying, hold on, they're saying that this woman was trying to run this man over. This lady was clearly trying to get around him. And this man also, if you look, he stood in front of the fuck. They shot this woman point blank in the face. And witnesses are saying they took her out the car, refused to give her CPR, and then put her in the ambulance dead. Mind you, there was just some footage that came out from Minneapolis of ICE agents being found with swastikas tattooed on their neck. ICE agents that are there from Texas. Now, for the idiots who will look at this and say, well, she should have stopped, I need y'all to understand traffic, like if this is a traffic, whatever, it's not supposed to end in death. That man was not afraid for his life. Not afraid for his life. And if you look at once, common sense to me, as a person who's not a first responder, right? But common sense to me would say, when you see that one officer who's pulling on the door handle and you see this lady isn't going to stop, why the fuck would you try to get in front of the car? And then she still was veering right to go around you. The window is open, my nigga. You could have maced the car if that's what you're going to do. Y'all ain't got no mace? Bitch.
In light of what happened to Renee Good in Minneapolis, I'm seeing a lot of black people be like, damn, these white people don't even care about their own. That's how I know it's bad. And I need you guys to understand that white supremacy is cannibalistic. They eat their own. They probably eat their own first before they cannibalize anybody else. We are talking about a societal ethos, structure, logic that quite literally is a death cult. It is consistently trying to find its purest form in a world where that level of purity does not exist. Much like their economic idea that you can have things in infinite on a finite planet. You see what I'm saying? Like, the shit is not going to make sense. It's not going to match. They're trying to put a square peg through a circle hole, and they are willing to destroy themselves and everybody else in order to do it. White supremacy requires people to strip themselves of their own identity. White supremacy required white people to give up their culture, their spoken language, their religion, their food, their music, literally everything that made them who they were from whatever the fuck tribe and village that they came from in Europe. They had to give up in order for white supremacy to exist. They don't give a shit about their own. In fact, their goal is to cull and destroy literally anyone that does not fit into this unrealistic idea of what is perfection. And that's how that's always been. That's how that's always been. And to keep it a stack, they never cared about their white women. I don't know how many times we got to see the statistics from the FBI showing how their men annihilate entire families. I don't know how many times we have to see the stories of their men talking about how they want to put their women back into the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. White women are nothing more than broodmares in white supremacy, and broodmares that have the responsibility of creating the perfection that does not exist. And every single time a white woman fails to do that, she must be removed. That is the idea of white supremacy. Renee Good was a single mother. She was a widow. She was someone in a queer relationship at the time of her passing. Those are all marks against her in the eyes of white supremacy. Of course, they don't care. That is how white supremacy functions. And I need everybody to really start, like, I know that y'all saw Sinners, but y'all really see Sinners for what it is, what it's describing, beyond how it made us feel as people of color, and specifically black people. White supremacy strips these people of everything. It dehumanizes them first in order for them to get the title of white. White supremacy and white supremacist structure has quite literally never given a fuck about the white people that exist within it. It never will. So let's be less surprised that they're killing their own and sacrificing their own, because that's quite literally what they were doing before they even left their little peninsula on Asia, okay? Before the British even left their little island, they were busy culling and destroying each other. In Europe, they are busy right now culling and destroying each other, despite the fact that there are countries that are predominantly pale-skinned and lacking melanin. They will find a way to cannibalize each other. They're tribalistic. In order for us to topple this over, we're really going to have to stop feigning surprise or being surprised and really start learning what it is we are up against, why we have to deal with this, in order for us to dismantle it.
What part of America died is what I keep getting asked. Yes, because I understand we are realizing it's being revealed that we didn't truly know America all along. Some of us did, but some of us bought the fairy tale as they sold it hard, right? Hypey Hippie's video got me hype. Got me, because is she wrong? She ain't wrong. Sorry. We're going off tangent. There's a lot of emotions. So I understand the question of, like, what are you talking about? What in America died? Because we were living in a Wizard of Oz type capsule type moment. A big booming voice, a curtain, one nation under God. A story that protected peace and power. We're the good guys, right? But yesterday, with Venezuela, the curtain moved. And to me yesterday with ICE, so with Venezuela, the curtain moved, and with ICE, the curtain dropped. And let me explain. This is what happened that we really need to be loud about, and it matters. A white woman was killed yesterday by a white man. This guy. She was a white woman that was killed by a white man. A white woman that was killed by a white man. Not by a black man. Not by an immigrant, not by a drag queen attacking her in the bathroom, not by the people that white women have been told to fear for generations. So they stay afraid and stay next to white men and uphold patriarchy and white supremacy to stay safe. She was killed by a white man operating inside a system that is supposedly supposed to protect her. And you can see that pivot coming from a mile away. And it's nasty. She's right. She is very right. She is saying that what they're doing is, yeah, we killed a white woman, but look at all these black men we got off the street. Look at this. We got thugs. I'm sorry there was one incident, but look at all the good we've done. And I want you to look at that photo because it's black men. And what has America done for centuries? They have made black men the monster. It has always been that white women need protection from black men. And that myth built laws. That myth justified lynchings. That myth made grown-ass white men attack young black men and deliver their bodies beaten and unrecognizable to their mothers. It fueled propaganda like Birth of a Nation, that movie, which just portrays black men as just big monsters there waiting for the white lady. And what have we learned? with fascism in this administration. Whoever they point at and whatever they're saying, they're telling on themselves, right? So they've been saying they're the monsters. They want to rape our women. They want to get rid of our bloodline and all this other stuff when it's always been the white man. It taught white women that safety only comes by standing next to white men, no matter what they do, whether they abuse you or not. Yesterday, Loud and Proud showed the truth that history has tried to bury, that white men are the ones that kill us. White women are not primarily harmed by black men. No, they're not. No, they're not. We are harmed by white men, and we are harmed by systems that protect those white men that continue to do harm. When that harm happens, it's minimized. It's explained away. Yeah, so sorry we killed one of you, but looky here, we done good. America has always reframed their brutalization as necessary. That's what they're trying to do now, but we have all the videos, all of them, that show that this guy just shot a lady who was trying to get away. That's the part that America died, and we needed it to fucking die. Like, do you understand what's happening right now in history? Trump is changing it to where January 6th is looking like it's planned by the Democrats. And he's actively changing history for that to happen. And he is actively trying to change history about what happened with Renee Good. We are not observing history with them. We're observing myth making. We have a responsibility, especially if you fucking look like me, especially if you're a white lady. We don't get to hide behind the old story anymore. We don't get to outsource our fear. And we don't get to cling to proximity to power and call it safe and allow our kids to get hurt under that umbrella of fake safety. Yesterday asked a question that we cannot unhear. If the system never fucking protected us, who the fuck are we standing with? And who should we stand with now? What are you willing to tell the truth about? I'm only willing to stand with who's willing to stand for me. What's that Cat Black quote that's going around? White women, it's time. No more excuses.
Some of y'all have been asking, why would they kill a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman? Well, in essence, that's a nigga lover, quite honestly. A lot of people don't realize that it wasn't just black people that were lynched, especially when we talk about the 1900s, when we talk about the 1800s, whenever, but white people that were too heavily associated with black people were also lynched. This is why John Brown was considered to be a bigger traitor than a Harriet Tubman to some of these people, because white people that are willing to abandon other white people to help Negroes, brown people, Muslim people, like, especially now we're talking about Latinos, you're talking about people who speak a different language in large amounts, and that pisses off white people, because then you're speaking in a language that they literally can't understand or just refuse to learn. So she is a threat. She was a threat to them just by being willing to abandon her whiteness. And we have to remember that whenever we talk about these issues, because if not, we end up not understanding that it's about so much more than just us standing up as black people, as brown people, all these other people.
And because she's a woman, she's disposable too.
And because she's a woman, she's disposable too. So it's about all this combination of things. And that's what made her extremely dangerous, even though she wasn't doing anything. Her being there and her being willing to say, nah, we're not dealing with this shit, that's what's dangerous, because nothing's worse to them than a nigga lover.
Listen, bro, with ICE taking this woman's life in Minneapolis, I'm pretty sure this may be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Some people are saying it feels like 2020 again, and I can't say I totally disagree. We all seen this shit coming from a mile away. Shit's been hella volatile. The year just started. It's already going crazy. We already knew it was a matter of time. If they willing to shoot a white woman at point blank range in broad daylight, you already know what's in store for the rest of us. I ain't got to spell it out for you. It's right there laid out right in front of you. People need to understand that we are past the point of just protesting and recording. It is still important, and we need to control the narrative, absolutely, as we see how quickly they try to twist and contort it. But we cannot continue to let our neighbors lie lifeless in the street while there's medical staff around and this rogue agency and their militia is telling people they can't provide first aid. That's highly unacceptable. We have overwhelming force in numbers. We need to utilize that. We need to utilize every form of resistance that is available to us, and immediately. I'm pretty sure over the next few days, shit in this country is going to start amping up to a level that we haven't seen probably since 2020, bro. If you are going to be out here, do not be consumed by the bystander effect. Help out the person next to you, help out your peers, those that you are organizing with, and all that. Because if you were getting assaulted and accosted by these rogue agents, you wouldn't want other people just to yell and scream and record and do nothing. You want folks to take action. So do for others what you would want them to do for you. The time is now.
We are only 1 week into the new year, and there have already been 2 passings connected to ICE. After what happened today in Minneapolis, this is now the 2nd passing that has been involved with ICE. A man named Keith Porter, who is a family man, a community man, he had an encounter with an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve and unfortunately lost his life in Los Angeles. According to reports, he was unalived outside his home during a New Year's Eve celebration. Authorities say that the off-duty ICE agent believed that there was a threat, but the witnesses honestly dispute that claim. And his family and the community members, they are all calling for justice and a proper investigation. Now fast forward to today's incident. And today's incident is also publicly being disputed by witnesses. 2 deaths, different cities, same agency. And the craziest part is they keep saying this is all in the name of immigration and violent criminals and thugs, but the only thugs I see are the ones who are harming American citizens, non-violent immigrants who are not criminals. I don't know if y'all are paying attention, but this is radicalized state violence.
Renee Nicole Good, 37, queer white woman who was killed by the ICE agent today in Minneapolis. And I want to talk about white grief. And I typically don't talk to white people directly, but today in this video I am because these aren't images we often see, and I'm seeing a certain type of grief from white people because epigenetically, the way your nervous system is built, the trauma that is embedded in your blood, in your genes, through your ancestors, you are not used to seeing people who could look like you experience violence like that. You're not used to seeing someone who could look like your sister, your cousin, your daughter, your mother experience violence like that. So it is hitting your nervous system in a different way than it would to see a black person, a brown person, or someone who looks like they could be an undocumented immigrant. It's hitting your nervous system different. And to that I say, good. It needs to. Use it. Because the shifts and changes needed to happen depend on y'all's nervous system shifting and changing. Your grief needs to catch up to our grief. I'm imploring you to use the grief and catch up to the grief that the rest of us have not only experienced and felt, but been inherited into. The grief that was in the wombs that we were conceived in. The grief of our mothers, our grandmothers, our fathers, our great-grandfathers. Their grief. What were your great-grandfathers doing? What were your forefathers doing? They created you. They, the ones who hung us from trees. They who enslaved us and whipped us. They who used our body parts to make furniture, to make teeth for them, dentures. They who maybe were against all of that, but just wrote on pamphlets, that just stood on the street. Their epigenetic, spiritual DNA is not predispositioned to be able to see and understand that you could be the victim of violence like this. So it needs to shake your nervous system. You need to change on a cellular, genetic level. There's this musical that I saw off-Broadway recently in Exodus, where in the middle, of the musical, a question is asked to the audience, is what have you done with the days that your ancestors have earned you? What are the days that your ancestors have earned you? Who are your ancestors, white people? They traded in their culture, their customs, their norms for white supremacy and whiteness. The white people who do not subscribe to whiteness and white supremacy in the way that other white people want them to do, those white people will take them out. Because they expect you to subscribe to the white privilege that you were predestined to have. You were inherited in that. You were inherited into white privilege whether or not you want it, and they expect you to stick with that status quo because that was your ancestors' wildest dream for you. So what are you going to do with the grief that you're feeling, the white grief that you're feeling, the grief that the rest of us are so very much used to?
Oof. Today is one of those days where it is so hard to be a therapist because how the fuck am are we supposed to carry on like this shit is normal? I don't have an answer for that right now. Y'all, this is seeing the video of the woman who was shot in Minneapolis. her wife holding her in the car. Like, this is disturbing. And like, I'm really trying hard to show up in this work, but fuck. I don't even know why I'm posting this outside of like, I don't know. Maybe like somebody else has an answer that I just haven't found yet, but like, shit. Yeah. Families are being torn apart. People are being disappeared. People are dying. People are being murdered. We have fascism like here. It's not knocking at the door anymore. It's like full-fledged here. It's been here for some time, I know, but like, it's just like feeling like shit is getting sticky, like the real kind. And I just like, wow. How the fuck are we supposed to do this shit? And I know I'm the therapist. How am I supposed to be the therapist with like, how am I supposed to be the therapist right now? Like, y'all, please. Oh God, I don't even know why I'm making this. Jesus.
That blood. They don't, she was in the car with her, bro. Or she tried to save her or something. Somebody. Hey, was you riding with her? Did you call any of your peoples yet?
ICE just murdered a woman in Minneapolis. Now, ICE killed a white woman, which is interesting because obviously their rallying cry is defend the homeland. Parentheses, against niggers, Mexicans, Muslims, etc. So why then, you ask, are there so many black and brown ICE agents? And why would they kill a blonde-haired white woman? Because what you got to understand is that white supremacy is and always has been a front. It's a cover for capitalism. It'll use Uncle Tom's, case in point, Sam L. and Django, and it'll kill white people. John Brown, the famous white abolitionist, in order to keep exploiting you. It's not and has never been about race. Race is fucking fictitious. It's some shit that they made up to justify the pillaging of Africa for free labor and resources. They just hyping these Trumpers up so they could run off with the bag. That free labor is what enabled America to become the richest country in the history of the world. Race was just a justification for exterminating the Native Americans. This stolen land mass is what enabled America to become the richest country in the history of the world. And the longer that you're concerned with hating me for my race, the richer they get.
I need us to deepen our understanding of white supremacy so that we can have more comprehensive conversations about what is currently happening in our society and what we're up against. Because it's not a front for capitalism. Capitalism is not the final boss that y'all think it is. Racism, sexism, these isms are just systems of oppression. They are henchmen to the final boss, but they are not the final boss. The main goal of white supremacy is not to extract resources or hoard wealth, but to establish superiority. It is who it tells you it is. And in order to establish superiority, you have to assert dominance and authority, which is how the situation in Minnesota could happen, is how a white man could end up shooting a white woman in the face, because at the end of the day, the goal is about asserting dominance, whether that be through financial dominance, gender dominance, race dominance. It doesn't matter. It's about asserting dominance and being clear about who has the authority to assert that dominance and who doesn't. This isn't about laws. It's not about safety. It's not about any of the things. It's not about oil. It's not about none of that shit. It's about asserting dominance. And I think we reach for these other things as a way to rationalize it, because the truth means that people are losing their lives. People are suffering. People are being exploited. People are being oppressed for centuries. Just so a few white men could feel superior. No other reason. No other reason. There is no other reason for so many of the tragedies that we face in this world other than a few Europeans feeling superior. And that is a very hard thing to accept and grasp. Because then what it really means is that all of this is for nothing. All of this is for absolutely fucking not a damn thing.
This is me venting. Because sometimes black people have offline conversations in our communities. Like everybody, sometimes you just have communications within your own group of people. And there are things you say in those conversations that, you don't always say out in public. I'm going to share a couple of things. Because I think that it is okay to express one's anger when it is warranted. And from a safe place and not threatening violence or anything like that. These are just words of expression from conversations that I have listened in on, I have participated in, I've read, and I've joined in and everything. And I just like to say to white America, why did y'all let this happen? And before you think your mind to say, no, that's MAGA. No, I'm talking about all white people. Because it remains the fact that you have the most power in this country. You have the most wealth. You have the most political power. You have the power to vote however you want, to get whatever you want. And you have allowed that man to be voted in twice. And before you fix your mind to say, yeah, but I voted for Kamala Harris, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Yeah, you did. You did, thank you. And you know what else? You can go 2 doors down and that person voted for Donald Trump. You can go to the next bedroom and that person voted for Donald Trump. You got Donald Trump on speed dial. You got Donald Trump voters on speed dial. It's your community that did this. And so you don't get some special exemption at all. You don't. It's like, thank you. However, we're not made better because you happen to be one of the good ones. Your community did this. And your community is doing this. The vice president said, yeah, they got qualified immunity. That lady is wrong. The Christy Nomi lady says she was a domestic terrorist. It was a domestic terrorist event. Lies upon lies upon lies, and these are the people you put in office. The president said it was a law enforcement event, or J.D. Vance said a law enforcement. They said it was a law enforcement event for Venezuela, for what's happening in the Caribbean. They're just throwing out all these words nilly-willy because you put these people in place, and they believe, like 99% of white America, if law enforcement says it's okay, then it's okay. Because you have been trained to believe that law enforcement is your Lord and Savior because they're guarding you against us. That's why every single police chief and sheriff and district attorney runs on one platform, tough on crime. And that means tough on us, and you all vote them in office in every red and blue city, state, district. You put those same people in office because they promise you they're going to be tough on us. And now you've given their man in the White House complete immunity to do whatever he wants. He got his own personal police force that's following the same script, the same laws, qualified immunity that you have allowed local police forces to have because they've used it to protect themselves against us. Back to blue. Blue lives matter. And that rooster, that chicken is coming home to roost on you because you allowed it to do so. I just made a video a moment ago. When is enough enough? You are the single largest demographic. You own all the institutions. You own all the money. You raise these people. You birth them. You raise them. You go to school with them. You go to church with them. You go to restaurants with them. You go to shows. You go to the park. You do everything with them. We don't see these white people. It's you. It's you. It's 200 million of you. And you have allowed this to happen. And I'm telling you, you cannot say, I talked to my brother who's MAGA. I can't talk to him anymore. I talked to my parents. I talked to my son. I talked to my sister. That's all I can do. I'm done. I did all I can do. I voted for Hillary. I voted for Kamala. I'm done. Okay, thank you. And this is what we got. We don't have access to MAGA. You do. You have access to these people, and yet you have allowed them to run roughshod over you, the institutions, the government, and destroy the Western Alliance. It's disgraceful. And you know what the thing is? You are now the most hated white people in the world. And these people around the world, they don't care if you're MAGA or a Hillary or an Obama vote. They do not care. The very people you guys be talking about, oh, I'm Irish. Oh, I'm Italian. Oh, my grandparents are Swedish. Oh, the UK. They hate you. They don't care if you're MAGA or blue. They do not care. You are the most hated white people on this planet right now because of what you have allowed to happen in this country. And what has happened in this country has spilled over to Asia, Near East, Far East, Middle East, Europe, and of course the Americas. And even the nice white neighbors right above us in Canada, even they hate you. And you just go about your lives. It's Thursday. People are planning for the weekend. They're just planning for the weekend now. That ICE agent walked past Renee Good's memorial and kicked it over. Does that make you mad? You know what? White people have been shooting up Emmett Till's gravesite for 60 years. So much so they have to encase it in metal and all this because white people use it as a rite of passage to go shoot the gravesite of a child that was killed because a white lady said he looked at her. We held this stuff in for 60 or 70 years. We deal with it every day. We walk out of the house. We have to be worried about whether or not some white people are going to kill us because they are allowed to do, because they have qualified immunity, because they wear a badge, because Blue Lives Matter, because you gave them that power. And so when we talk amongst ourselves, I'm not talking about all black people, but the black people I know, we talk about ourselves, we say, what the F is wrong with white people in America? Why aren't you see it from people around the world? Why aren't you in the streets? Why don't you shut this country down? Shut this country down. Do not go to work until that man is taken out of that White House in handcuffs. It's 200 million of you. You watched 10,000 of them take over your capital. You didn't do nothing except sit around online and blame Merrick Garland. They spread feces on your Capitol. They've torn up your White House. They've torn down all the international relationships. And now they killed a mom, that word that you love so much. A mom, a mama. She's trying to be a mom. She was a mom. And a widow. Oh, she's a widow. So like your Christian Bible say, take care of the widows. And a veteran. Her husband was a veteran. Oh, and now she has her partner. She's gay. All the things that you say you love and support and back and defend. And the ICE agent is kicking over her memorial one day later after discharging his side piece. And so the rounds went into her head and unalived her because you can't say these things on these apps because you allow censorship in America. You have all this power. You're just sitting back with the level of passivity that is absolutely disgusting. You should be ashamed to call yourself an American. Home of the brave and the free and all that crap we're going to see on all these football games over the next weekend. The most scared, fearful people on the planet. You let a 80-year-old megalomaniac on the verge of dementia scare you. His little puppet, Stephen Miller, frighten you, and this fat-faced vice president tell you that what you saw with your eyes you didn't see. What is wrong with you? So anyway, that's my rant. And those are some of the conversations that I have listened to, I have participated in, I have read about offline in communities in groups where white people aren't present. I think it's good that you know this is how some people are thinking right now.
You know, as soon as that perimeter collapsed, Boris, what we really saw was people begin to condense onto the law enforcement vehicles, and they were throwing snowballs at them. Did you see that? Can you see that they're throwing it looks like snowballs or maybe chunks of ice at the vehicles. People here are really angry. And right now, because the Minneapolis Police Department is among the law enforcement still on the ground, that anger is singularly directed toward the Minneapolis Police Department. And that highlights the real challenge for law enforcement in cities where ICE is descending on this area and causing these flare-ups between the public and law enforcement. Minneapolis police were not involved in the shooting, and yet they are here taking the heat that people feel because of what they saw ICE do here in Minneapolis.
White supremacists will spend years attacking black and brown people, mostly black people in America, until other white people start to object, and then they will kill those white people too. After the Civil War, black people were given citizenship, black men were given the right to vote, and black men started running for office and winning. They went to Congress, they started taking over state legislatures. White people reacted with extreme violence. That's how we got the Klan. They didn't just kill black people. James Hines was a member of Congress from Arkansas who spent a lot of his time educating his newly freed black constituents about their civil rights. He was murdered by the Klan. He is one of only 6 members of Congress to be murdered. George Ashburn was a progressive judge and a candidate for Senate, murdered by the Klan. Alexander Boyd was a county solicitor in Alabama who defended the legal rights of his black constituents. He was murdered by the Klan. Andrew Goodman and Michael Henry Schwerner went to Mississippi in 1964 to do civil rights work fighting segregation with James Earl Cheney. They went missing. Their bodies were discovered weeks later by the FBI. They were murdered by the Klan, local law enforcement. While the FBI was hunting through the woods of Mississippi for their bodies, they found the bodies of 2 other black men who had gone missing for months, murdered by the Klan. During the Selma to Montgomery marches in 1965, Viola Luiso gave rides to people protesting. She gave them rides. She was murdered by the Klan. Being white in America isn't going to save you from state violence. The only thing that saves you from state violence in America is being white and being quiet. I know what happened to Renee Good yesterday has a lot of people scared because they assumed that the color of their skin would offer them some protection, and it doesn't. It never really has. When you speak truth to power, power doesn't care what color you are. But bravery is not about not being afraid. Bravery is about being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. And you have to decide now, before the people who did this to Renee Good come to your door, and they will, because this is going to get worse. Authoritarians always double down when they're feeling weak. You have to decide now that you care more about being brave than you do about being safe. Because what you would have done in 1965 is what you're doing now. And I remember Viola Luiso's name. I don't know the names of the Klan members who killed her.
To open the door and they have a warrant?
They don't have a warrant.
They said they'll get one.
They said they'll get one.
Okay, if they get one, then they're gonna break the door down.
That's fine, but I don't want to open the door if they don't have a warrant. Because this was my DoorDash lady. I don't even know the lady. She just ran to my house.
All right.
I have a baby here. Like, I really don't know what to do. I'll open the door if the police, say that I have to open the door, but like, I don't know what to do. This lady just was shot yesterday. Now I ordered fucking food and there's people outside my fucking house.
Cheyenne, I'm on my way, okay? All right.
What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm so scared. James, come downstairs.
Cheyenne.
What? I literally ordered DoorDash and now there's ICE agents around my house because the lady ran in my house and I don't know what to do because I don't know. They have no warrant. They have no warrant. They said that they were going to get one. I don't know what to do. I called the police. The police are on their way. I can't ignore it. I have a baby here and they have guns pointing everywhere in my house. I have some random lady in my house. I have my child barricaded.
They're looking at our backyard too.
They're looking at everything. They're everywhere. All because I ordered some fucking DoorDash food. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack. This is the lady's license plate. They already took someone out of her car. I called the police. The police are on their way. I asked for a warrant. I just fucking ordered some fucking food and then some lady ran in my house.
The DoorDash lady ran in our house.
The Vice President of the United States has now come out and said that ICE will start going door to door to arrest and capture people. Disturbed J.D. Vance ICE door-to-door comments compared to 1930s Germany after horror shooting. Vice President J.D. Vance has advocated for ramping up deportations with door-to-door operations as tensions over immigration enforcement intensify following the fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. So now, after the shooting, he came out, they defended the guy. They said the guy has absolute immunity, so nothing is going to happen to him. And not only that, he said we need more. And you know what's funny? At least 50% of Nigerians who follow me, who are non-Northerners, non-Muslim, will watch this video and still say, yes, we don't care. We want America to come and save Christians. Look what they're doing to Christians in their own country. Look what the Christians are doing to Christians in their own country. Now that they're going door to door, you see, this is before the World Cup. They're announcing this. They're trying to make us slowly accept the reality. As I said, the Iron Curtain will come down either after the World Cup or after the Olympics. One of the two will happen. It will be that American citizens cannot and will not be able to leave America. You cannot have a police state without people to police. And here it is. This is the exact same thing that the reason it's being compared to 1930s Germany is because the Gestapo, Polizei, or whatever the fuck it is fuck the Germans. I don't give a fuck. Gestapo literally started out doing this. They started out going house to house, and then eventually it got to the point they were so powerful that at home, this is a true story, look this up, it happened in almost every home in Germany. At home, a father, a wife, son, daughter sitting down eating dinner, every single person is afraid of saying something negative to Gestapo because the father doesn't know if his wife will give him away. The father and wife don't know if their sons or daughters will snitch on them. Literally, it made families afraid to have conversations at home because you did not know who was going to sell you out in your own family. Now it's starting in America, and nobody... See, I've always said it, and I hope everyone's finally believing it now. The Second Amendment has nothing to do with government. The reason Americans have to have guns is because if black Americans ever wake up to seek vengeance for slavery, Americans need to have a way to defend themselves.
Watch what happened last night when the NBA team Minnesota Timberwolves had a moment of silence for ICE victim Renee Good.
Please join us in a moment of silence.
Being drawn, nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds.
One of the most suspicious things that happened yesterday in Minnesota, in my opinion, is this guy. The guy who burned the American flag in front of everyone. Now, after he did this, he immediately left like it was nobody's business. Now, why would someone burn up a flag, rile them up, make them protest, and just sneak away? A girl followed him, recorded him, asked him a bunch of questions, and just check this out.
You wouldn't have ran off. That's weird. Because we need people to see that that's happening. Well, why would you run off? Why would you run off? That's weird, to burn a flag and run off. That doesn't make sense. That's not a protest.
Why are you not back there at the protest? We got everybody riled up. You came here to do what? You a boogaloo boy? An accelerationist? What are you doing here?
Usually these people are proud to protest and tell them where they're from.
Where you from? Why are you here?
Yeah, we know. We remember George Floyd, so we know you guys are around.
Hey, fuck your flag burning, dude. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
That was not cool.
Yeah.
Not happening. He doesn't even know where the fuck he is. He doesn't even know where his fucking car is. What?
Why are you hiding your face, huh? Why you got your glasses on? You think you're some covert fucking like ninja or something, bro? cosplaying out
Yeah,
here.
we need to know who the hell this guy is.
So that woman that ICE murdered today was a lesbian. Renee Good was a lesbian. And the reason that this matters is because, number one, her wife was in the car with her when it happened. Number two, shortly after, her wife gave a distraught interview to a reporter in which she mentioned, we have a 6-year-old who's in school right now. Like, I have to go pick our 6-year-old up from school. After this, the child's grandfather gave an interview to the news. This would either have been Renee's father or the father of that child's biological father. It's unclear from the context clues. That child's grandfather gave an interview to the news in which he said, I'm going to have to fly to Minneapolis to pick up my grandchild who has nobody left. There's nobody left for them. That child's other mother is still there. She's still there. That child was in a stable, loving, married 2-parent home, and the second parent is still there. That child's grandfather is now clearly intent on trying to rip this child away from their remaining mother after they lost their other mother today. This is why it matters that Renee Good was a lesbian. Because if she hadn't been, this situation would not be happening. This is the exact situation that I, by the way, have been talking about for the past 2 years, telling people if Donald Trump is elected, I am going to lose my rights. They say, what rights? What rights are you talking about? What rights have you lost? What rights are in danger of yours? The right not to have your child taken when your spouse is murdered by the government. Do not let this part of the story get swept under the rug. Okay? That's what they want. Don't let it get swept under the rug. This is an additional atrocity happening after, again, the murder of a United States citizen by the United States government. And now they're going to try to take her child. Do not let this part of the story die. Talk about it. Be loud about it. It matters. It matters that Renee Good was a lesbian. It matters that her child's grandfather is now trying to take that child away from their home. It matters not only to that family, but it matters, I guarantee you, to people that you know and love. Even if you don't know that it matters to them, we look around and we say, this could be us. This could happen to me. So don't let this part get swept under the rug.
You still believe that she deliberately tried to ram him despite seeing this video?
Look, I don't know what is in a person's heart.
Oh, wait, what? Hold on. What? Record scratch. What did she, wait, what?
You just asked me a question that presumed that the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
Tried to run him over with the car. Oh.
I said next question.
She tried to run him over. But now...
Still know what is in a person.
Deliberately tried
well, I don't know, actually. Who knows what she was trying to do?
Seeing this video.
Look, I don't know what is in a person's heart or in a person's head, and obviously we're not going to get the chance to ask this woman what was going on. What I am certain of is that she violated the law. What I'm certain of is that that officer had every reason to think that he was under very serious threat for injury or in fact, his life.
One of the ways that we evaluate, this works in criminal cases, and this works in your own personal life, is how somebody responds to a situation to see what was in their mind when the situation was happening, right? What were all the other officers doing? What did the one officer do after he shot? Nobody ran to the person to go and arrest them. None of the other officers were freaking out. I think that the guy in front was literally the only one who pulled his gun. After he shot her, he just kind of like chilled. And then he walked over and saw her and then walked away. Like, doesn't seem like any of the officers thought there was a life-threatening situation going on here.
I know what I think? This is what I think. I think Johnathan Ross got out of his car. He was filming and wanted to take evidence of whatever was happening here. Then as he approaches Renee, not only is she not trying to agitate or aggravate the situation, she's actually trying to de-escalate the situation. Then Johnathan Ross goes to the back of the car where he encounters Renee's wife. There's something in this part of the footage that I think is important to note. See here, you can see in the reflection of the car, his phone is in his right hand. Then as he's filling the license plate, he encounters Renee's wife. And big, strong Johnathan does not like what she has to say.
It'll be the same fight when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead. Out the car.
Did you catch that? While they're having their exchange, he walks further around the car, and then he does this. He switches the phone from his right hand to his left hand, because what side of his body is his firearm on? See, he was ready. He switched his phone from his right hand to his left hand so his right hand could be ready. This was before the car was moving, because Renee only started driving forward once this guy started pulling on her door trying to open it. But Johnathan Ross already had his gun unholstered. I mean, what does that tell you? Here's what I think. I don't think Johnathan liked that these two women were getting in his way. I don't think that he liked that these two women were emasculating him and making him feel small. Go get a sandwich, big boy. He doesn't like that feeling. He's the big strong man. And how dare these bitches make him feel like that? And is anyone shocked that these ICE agents are not only racist, but they're also fucking misogynists? He didn't like that these women were standing up to him. He didn't like that they were in his way. You can even hear it after he puts 3 bullets in Renee's fucking face. He says this. He doesn't care that the woman that he just shot 3 times was dead or alive, but he made sure that he called her a fucking bitch. And again, her tires were to the right. His body was to the left. If she wanted to run him over, she would have gone straight. I'm no forensics expert. I'm no crime scene investigator, but I'm seeing what I saw.
The last words Renee Good said to the ICE agent that shot her in the face was, "It's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you." The last word she probably heard was the ICE agent calling her a fucking bitch. New video angle shows the Trump administration's narrative about an agent in fear for his life was a total lie from the start. Now, Renee Good's wife put out a statement that said, quote, "First, I want to extend my gratitude to all the people who have reached out from across the country and around the world to support our family. This kindness of strangers is the most fitting tribute because if you ever encountered my wife, Renee Nicole Good, you know that above all else, she was kind. In fact, kindness radiated out of her. Renee sparkled. She literally sparkled. I mean, she didn't wear glitter, but I swear she had sparkles coming out of her pores all the time. You might think it was just my love talking, but her family said the same thing. Renee was made of sunshine. Renee lived by an overreaching belief there is kindness in the world, and we need to do everything we can do to find it where it resides and nurture it where it needs to grow. Renee was a Christian who knew that all religions teach the same essential truth. We are here to love each other, care for each other, and keep each other safe and whole. Like people have done across place and time, we moved to make a better life for ourselves. We chose Minnesota to make our home. Our whole extended road trip here, we held hands in the car while our son drew all over the windows to pass the time and the miles. What we found when we got here was a vibrant and welcoming community. We made friends and spread joy. And while any place we were together was home, there was a strong shared sense here in Minneapolis that we were looking out for each other. Here, I had finally found peace and safe harbor that has been taken from me forever. We were raising our son to believe that no matter where you come from or what you look like, all of us deserve compassion and kindness. Renee lived this belief every day. She is pure love. She is pure joy. She is pure sunshine. On Wednesday, January 7th, we stopped to support our neighbors. We had whistles. They had guns. Renee leaves behind 3 extraordinary children. The youngest is just 6 years old and already lost his father. I am now left to raise our son to continue teaching him as Renee believed, that there are people building a better world for him, that the people who did this had fear and anger in their hearts, and we need to show them a better way. We thank you for the privacy you are granting our family as we grieve, and we thank you for ensuring that Renee's legacy is one of kindness and love. We honor her memory by living her values, rejecting hate and choosing compassion, turning away from fear and pursuing peace, refusing division and knowing we must come together to build a world where we all come home safe to the people we love." End quote. Please consider donating to the GoFundMe to support Renee's wife and son.
Renee Good was a warning shot. Hear me out. Renee's murder by that cowardly ICE agent actually represents something that this administration wanted to do, which was scare well-meaning white people. Facts. They want to scare y'all out of doing the thing that marginalized communities have been begging your people to do for generations, if not longer. You see, many of you have dropped the undergirding law of white politeness, that no matter what's going on, that white people are going to be polite to other white people. A lot of y'all have dropped that. A lot of y'all said that enough of this. Y'all made Thanksgiving real uncomfortable. Y'all made Christmas unbearable and intolerable. Y'all made New Year's a feat by telling people exactly how you feel about things and how their votes or the way that they moved really messed stuff up for everybody. Y'all have been out here advocating and being allies and trying to figure it out in a more genuine way than a lot of y'all did in 2020. Like, let's just keep it a buck. This administration don't like that. They don't like the fact that there's a bunch of y'all standing up and doing the right thing. They don't like the fact that there's potentially more of y'all that are going to do that are going to be empowered to do that, because you see others of y'all doing that. They don't like the fact that they don't have a death grip on y'all like they do with the people who are wearing the red hats. Those people who do not care that the ship is sinking as long as the marginalized people and the people that we hate drown first. No, they want y'all scared. They want y'all incapacitated. They want y'all fearful. And that's what Renee Good represents. No, I'm not saying that she was a hit. I'm not saying this was planned or calculated. What I am saying, though, is that they were trying to figure out a way to scare y'all They're trying to figure out a way to show y'all, yeah, y'all could get treated just like these marginalized folks, just like these people with darker skin than you. And instead of looking at their paperwork or even questioning their humanity, we toss them in the back of a truck and take them to a center and terrorize them. You get the benefit of the doubt because you're light skin. Y'all are the ones they want to terrorize. Y'all are the ones they want afraid because they want y'all to be inactive. They don't want you to do the things that you've been doing. They don't want you to show up to the rallies and the marches and the protests. They don't want you to be legal observers. They don't want you to find ways to be allies. They don't want you to read the books. They don't want you to come to the talks. They don't want you to learn. They don't want you to talk to your neighbors. They don't want you to build community. They don't want you to do any of that. They want you fearful so they can manipulate you. And I'm telling you this because I need y'all to get y'all mind right. I know what I'm asking for. I know what I'm asking for. Renee Good had a whole life. She was only 37 years old. She was 3 years younger than me. She had a whole life full of dreams, full of things she wanted to do, full of ambitions and goals. She had people that she loved. She had people she wanted to see. She had a child that she dropped off at school that day that came home from school an orphan. I know what I'm asking you for. I know what I'm asking you for because my people have endured it for centuries. And it's hard and it's scary and it's frustrating. I know what I'm asking for, but we still have to remain brave. We still have to remain courageous. We can't just be angry in these halls of perceived safety where we can record our videos and post our posts and then we go back to life as normal. There's no normal here. There's no normal here. We're all going to have to find our spine. Some of us sooner than later. I am asking you to do the right thing, to keep fighting, to keep showing up, to keep marching, to keep showing up to these abductions. I'm asking you. I know what I'm asking for. I know it's hard. But if my people could deal with it for centuries, y'all could deal with it for a few years. Y'all could deal with it for a few months. And y'all can make sure that Renee didn't die in vain. Y'all can make sure that Keith Porter didn't die in vain. Y'all can make sure so many people who have been murdered or manhandled by this gang, this Gestapo, didn't die and weren't harmed in vain. Let's end it. But we got to work together.
Remember, y'all, when I said when white women start dying, folks might get angry enough and things might change, especially up with our government, and I believe I was even called a racist for that. Let's talk about why this particularly matters and the things that it might change. First, I'm going to start with the fact that the police and police-like authorities like ICE have been killing Black and brown people without impunity for decades. I mean, for this country's entire history. But it's been a problem more and more, as we have seen with the use of cell phone cameras. And I just came from Heather Cox Richardson's video. If you don't know Heather Cox Richardson, please go follow her. And she talked about, the reason we know about Nicole Good's death is because so many of her neighbors were out there filming ICE. The reason we know about George Floyd is because that brilliant, brave 17-year-old girl, Danielle, I think her name was, stood there and filmed even though the cops were yelling at her and threatening her. So standing there, observing, filming, that is not doing nothing. That is very important. And I also want to remind people that say her name is for when Black women lose their lives, because their names don't get said. Nicole Good's name is getting said. We need to, white ladies, we cannot appropriate that, okay? Please, please listen. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the Revolutionary War, okay? Because in America, as we know, we had the Revolutionary War. Our Revolutionary War set off revolutions in France that we know about, and then all over Europe. There's a book called The End of the Myth by Greg Grandin that I have just been listening to that talks about this, okay? So all of these European countries had populist revolutions where the have-nots got together and said to the haves, there's more of us than you, and you will give us rights. and they got unions, and they got labor rights, and they got all of the things. They also have the history of taking to the streets anytime the people are not getting what they want. Okay? We didn't have that in America. As soon as we finished fighting the British, we went into race warfare. Washington, who was the richest man in America, that's why he became the president, was like, we're going to give a bunch of low-class white men property, land, so that they will be middle class. And the middle class traditionally acts as a barrier between the have-nots and the haves, right? So they have some. Okay, so that is what has happened in America. To this day, we have not had a populist revolution. We have not had class warfare. Maybe it's starting now. Because unfortunately, this country built on a white supremacist system cares more about the body of Nicole Good than the black and brown bodies that we have seen over and over and over again. And white women, it is absolutely crucial that we do not look away. This is not the time for self-care. This is the time to double down on studying the real history of our country. And this is the time to understand, deeply, deeply internalize that they hate us too. Right? The white supremacist system and the men in charge, they hate us too. The only value of white women is only white women can make white men. And we saw with Nicole Good how quickly they were identified. Oh, wife in the car. Oh, she's queer. She's an other. Put her over there. She's not one of us. That's how us versus them mentality works. That's what it has been going on in our country. Increasing polarization ever since the 80s. But as white people in America, we have generally been safe. We have generally been safe from the police and the system that is out there, even though we have not been better off, right? It's hurting. White supremacy hurts all of us. We are better off than those who are worse off, but we are not better off overall. We are not better off as a people. We absolutely have to find a way to bond together and have class warfare and make the haves give us rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which we don't really have in America anymore. Please do not look away. Please do not go off for self-care because you're discomforted. Please figure out what you need to be doing right now. Get involved in local politics. Local politics is how we change things. You're worried elections are not going to happen? Educate yourself on elections and get involved. That is the best way to ease your anxiety right now, and that is the best way to ensure that fair elections will continue to happen. The murder of Renee Good is going to go down as a significant moment in history, not because her life was worth any more than anyone else whose life has been taken, but because it is breaking through something for white people to understand that, as Jasmine Crockett said yesterday, we are all in the same sinking ship together. And we are all going to have to figure out how to dash this system of white supremacy that our country has been built on. It's really time, white women. It's really time for us to get our shit together and stand up to oppression. White women control the money in this country, trillions of dollars. And that is because, in most cases, women are controlling the finances in their homes, right? Not in this home. That would be bonkers. I just make the money. We really, really, white ladies, we gotta come through this time. We gotta understand that they hate us too. And we have to understand that we, the have-nots, have so much more in common with each other than with the 1% of our country who owns 90% of the resources. If we can't pull it together, white ladies, we might be living in an oligarchy next, with a tyrant who is just stripping our country for parts openly. We gotta get it together. I'm Danielle, a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I have written 2 books about cults and high control groups. The Culting of America comes out on January 20th, and it is the tactics book. I think it will really help us understand what is going on in our country right now that a cult is in the White House. I also have this book, Unculture Yourself, a workbook for reclaiming your mind, which I have been working through. I've been deconstructing Swiftianity, technically, my 20 years as a Swiftie, but it really is deconstructing white womanhood, is what I'm using this for. So stay tuned. Books attached here. There's so much reading that we can do. A creator named Monty Mater just put out a great reading list for white women, so I'm going to tag her so that you all can go watch her video about this. Almost everyone is saying the same thing. Please don't look away. Please keep your eyes open. And please start figuring out how you are going to be involved, what you care about, and what you are willing to sacrifice.
Yes. I think the hashtag for, Renee, if you use the hashtag Renee, anything like that, it gets a community guidelines violation for some reason. I do not know why they're doing this. I just had another video. This video got banned yesterday. I posted this video originally, yesterday morning after 10. And it only got restored this morning because I submitted an appeal. And it only got restored this morning. And now another video I just uploaded, right? But I had the sense to download it this time. Another video I just uploaded, right, also got removed for community guidelines violation again. And it had the same hashtag in it. So now I submitted an appeal again. I fought that again. And another video that I made last night, which I actually downloaded it prior to them doing it. Now they're shadow banning that video. So there are 2 copies of the same video. There's one video that's going to appear hidden to you, and then there's another video that's that I uploaded directly as a video uploaded from my device. Somehow uploading the video from your device tricks these algorithms. They can't seem to deal with any hashtags in it. So what I did, when I uploaded the video from my device, I left off the Renee hashtag. And of course, it got uploaded, no problems. This is surreal. This is what they're doing. They do not want us talking about this. I don't know if they think they're trying to be decent, I suppose. They think, she just passed. We can't have people talking about her. Why not? Why can't they be in a hashtag? Oh, wait, I get it. The hashtag means you're going to put frozen water people under scrutiny, is going to foster rage against the frozen water people. I guess they're trying to be responsible, I suppose. Bullshit. You know what the responsible thing would have been? They did not have to tell these officers to operate the way they've been operating since this man took office. That is why you're having people talk about it. That is, and I'm saying this again, she would still be here if this man didn't win. She would still be here if this man didn't win. Venezuela would be whole if this man didn't win. We would not have gone into Iran and all. I mean, let me not get get distracted, but they keep taking down the video let me get back to that, but they keep taking down the video because they don't want us talking about it. I think this thing is under control now by a friend of Trump. So that's what they're doing. So when you do your memorials, leave off her name, which is fucked up. You can't even put her name on things. Yeah, they keep taking it down. Exactly right.